Hi guys, welcome back to the homestead. Today I'm planting some of my fall crops, just a few things that I'll be planting in my container garden here, and then I'm also going to give you guys a quick little garden update. So let's go. Okay, so I have here purple peacock broccoli, and I'm also going to do some Swedish turnips. So I'm going to plant them in my containers that I had my onions in. So I've just amended this soil with some fertilizer and some compost, and I'm going to go ahead and plant these guys in here. These brassicas are going to do really well in the fall. Okay, all I'm going to do is go ahead and remove a little bit of the soil off the top layer. Gonna move it back a bit, and we're going to sprinkle in 2 to 3 seeds per hole. I'm going to do 3 broccoli in here. It's a pretty big pot, but broccoli get really big when they're fully grown. So you want to leave enough space and room for them to actually grow. I'm put about 3 seeds in each hole, and I'm only going to do about 3 holes in this container here. Okay, and we're going to cover it up. And we're going to give it a good drink of water. Let's plant some turnips now. So I have the Swedish turnips, and I'm going to do the exact same thing I did with the broccoli. And the seeds look very similar. So 3 seeds in a hole, and I'm going to do about 3 holes in this large container here. Okay, and then I'm just going to make a little divot about equal distances apart. And we'll sprinkle in a few seeds. Okay guys, let's go on a quick little garden tour, and I can show you how everything has progressed since our last tour. Everything has really grown exceptionally, and we're in the thick of things now. But first, let's take a look at these cute little ducklings. Remember the little baby ducks that the mommy duck adopted? Well, look at them now. They're not babies any longer. And mommy here has been doing an amazing job taking care of all these sweet little ducklings. They're going through water like crazy right now too. But it's really warm, so I'm gonna go fill this up. Okay, so here is where I have some of my containers with cucumbers and watermelon. You can see there's a watermelon there. And these are in containers. They're just kind of hanging out on the side of my main garden here. They're doing pretty good because we have watermelon pretty much all over this, hanging from the wire on the fencing here. We have tomatoes, large bell peppers, some fresh herbs here. Some of them are getting drowned out because everything is really producing now. We have a lot of peppers, a lot of flowers on the peppers as well. We have some eggplant. There's some baby eggplant on them. The tomatoes are really coming in now. We have a lot of tomatoes on these plants. The beets, you guys, have been absolutely killer. I've harvested beets from here twice already, and they just keep producing because we sowed multiple seeds of beets in here, and we just let them all grow in the same hole. So as they grow, I just harvest the large ones and I let the small ones continue to grow. It's been exceptional. Here are the cabbages. I have 3 cabbages here, and they were getting absolutely decimated by pests, but our neem and diatomaceous earth spray has really worked, and now they've gotten past that stage. And here's the broccoli. Really starting to do well now. We did a large harvest on the basil and the dill here. You can see the basil has already bounced back, and it's growing as if nothing's happened. The dill's also coming in again. So we can just keep harvesting these. Same with my herbs that I have over here. which is some sage. But one of the biggest things in the garden is the amaranth. It is huge. I'm gonna stand beside it so I can show you a comparison from my 5'4" to see how much these have grown. Let's take a look. So I'm right here and you can see how much taller these are now. They really add such a beautiful element. I'll definitely continue to grow the amaranth. They invite the pollinators and they just look beautiful. They add some height and some depth and just some character to the garden. The leaves are beautiful too. And they provide a beautiful amount of shade for the brassicas that I'm growing underneath, and that will prevent them from bolting or going to seed. It is massive. And then on this side of the garden, we have our ground cherries. And yesterday I noticed we had one ground cherry, our very first ground cherry flower. Ground cherries are doing great, and I just started to notice that they're flowering now. So hopefully within a few weeks we'll have some ground cherries ready to eat. Cucumbers have had such a slow start this year. We're just not getting as many cucumbers as I have in previous years. But I do notice that we have some on here. There's one right back there. And we have a few little smaller ones developing. They're just not as abundant. We're just not getting the full pollination I think that we need this year. So this is just container cucumbers. These are the sweet potato slips, guys, that we grew a few months back. I made a video on how to start your sweet potato slips. I have 2 containers, one here and one here, full of beautiful sweet potato slips. And they'll start to vine out. They're already putting out their little vines here. Some peas. There's a few of them that are this size on here. You can harvest a few in here. This is our grapes that we have planted. We have 2 of them right here on the frame. And this one has put out a little bunch of grapes, so we'll see what it does. Some peppermint that I'm going to harvest and dry for tea. A container of potatoes here. They should be almost ready. I'm going to keep them in as long as I can. Here is my little lemon plant. There's a little lemon on here. It has to go inside in the fall. Here are the pineapples that I started inside just from the pineapple tops. I have 3 of them here and they're all doing pretty well. One more cucumber in a container, actually 2 cucumbers in containers here. And again, I'm getting the same thing where there's a lot of flowers, not enough pollination, not enough cucumbers. So we'll take what we can get though. The wild oregano that I picked out of my front yard and transplanted into my container here has really taken off. I'm so proud. They're doing absolutely amazing. And I put them in here with my parsley. And so I have a big container full of wild oregano and parsley that I've had for many years in this container. Okay, heading on down the stairs into the orchard. I have a container here with watermelon, and I have, let's see if I can find it for you. There's a little baby watermelon right there growing into the bush. There's another little one here. And there's 2 watermelon plants in this container, and we're just gonna let it go. They were just extra plants and I threw them in here. All right, and by our pumpkin patch, let's take a closer look and see what they look like. You can see how far they've run from the actual patch, which is right here. And they've run all the way over here. You can see a small little pumpkin with his little hat right there. They're so cute. Baby pumpkins are absolutely adorable, you guys. Here is one pumpkin. Let me show you. It's quite large. And there's a nice looking pumpkin. I have a few of them in here like this. Hard to find though. I ended up putting actually a little bit of this wiring here because I noticed the chickens were getting in here and I didn't want them to peck all of my pumpkins. So I put it over and you can see I have another pumpkin right there. And one more in there. So I have at least 6 or 8 pumpkins from the pumpkin patch. And they're still flowering, they're still putting out more pumpkins, they're running and vining everywhere. They are doing awesome. Quick look at the orchard here. We've been trying to keep the grass down. All of my blueberry plants on that side ended up getting this disease that I'll tell you about in another video, but I basically have to cut all my blueberries down and start over with them, which is a real bummer. The pawpaws, the smaller ones. All the way on the other side here we have the bigger pawpaws, and they've done so good this year, you guys. And the fruit trees are doing okay. They're hanging in there, which is good. All right, let's head on down the hill, let the chickens out, and give the goats some water for the day. Hello, ladies. Hello, gentlemen. Okay, time to give you guys some water. Let's discuss what I think is happening with my cucumbers this year. So I've been noticing that the cucumbers haven't been as prolific as they have in other years. Although I'm seeing a lot of bees and butterflies and pollinators around, I'm just not seeing the pollination. Normally I never have this issue with the cucumbers, but for some reason I think it's just way too hot in the daytime and it's actually sterilizing the flowers. So I think that's basically what's happening with the cucumbers. Next year I'm going to plant them probably in a shaded area so they're not in full sun, and maybe that will help, especially when we have exceptionally warm days in the summer. Okay guys, thank you for joining me. Make sure you share the video on social media. It's the best way to spread the word and help me out. I'll see you in the next one. Stay peaceful. Bye.